Happy Saturday, August 23rd. Today we're going to be talking about Deuteronomy 13. It starts off as a continuation of the end of chapter 12, talking about idolatry, how Israel should not be an idolatrous nation. So, chapter 12 ends with these people worship false gods. They are doing evil things, and you need to remove them all from the land. And then he starts in 13. If a prophet or dreamer of dreams rises among you and gives you a sign or a wonder, and the sign or wonder he tells you comes to pass, and if he says, "Let us go after other gods," what should you do? Well, clearly you don't go follow other gods just because something that guy said was true. For Yahweh your God is testing you to know whether or not you love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul. If you remember the greatest commandment, love the Lord with all your heart, mind, soul, strength. The second one is like it. Love your neighbor as yourself. So, God is allowing them to be tested by allowing people who don't follow God, who worship false gods, to do signs and wonders that may seem pretty cool. And that can tell us a few things. Just because someone says something doesn't mean they're worth following. What they say might be true, but are they leading you towards God or away from God? That's a decision we have to make as Christians. If you're not a Christian, well, if you want to follow them, that's kind of your prerogative. I would not say that's a great idea. I actually say it's a pretty terrible idea. I'm a Christian. I believe that God created the earth. He knows what he's doing, and we are to worship him. Verse 4, you shall walk after Yahweh your God and fear him and keep his commandments and obey his voice, and you shall serve him and hold fast to him. But that prophet or dreamer of dreams shall be put to death, because he has taught rebellion against Yahweh your God, who brought you out of the land of Egypt and redeemed you. So, Israel was God's chosen people. That doesn't mean God didn't love the other people. It just means they were the people that he was sanctifying, that he was living among. And because he was living among them, he was their God, they were his people. Purity was one of the things that mattered the most. And in the end of verse 5, it says, the reason for this is, so you shall purge the evil from your midst. The point is purity. That's the point of all this. Now, 6-11 talks about familial relations, and if they do that, if your brother, the son of your mother, or the son of your daughter, or the wife you embrace, or your friend who is as your own soul entices you secretly, saying, let us go and serve other gods, which neither you nor your fathers have known, some of the gods of the peoples who are around you, whether near or far off, from one end of the earth to the other, you shall not yield to him or listen to him or her, nor shall your eye pity him, nor shall you spare him, nor shall you conceal him, but you shall kill him. If someone is enticing you, it is your responsibility to do this. You shall stone him to death with stones, because he has sought to draw you away from Yahweh your God, who brought you out of the land of Egypt. Your hand shall be first against him to put him to death, and afterward the hand of all the people. So, as 10 says, you shall stone him because he sought to draw you, and then the rest of the people join in. And this might seem kind of extreme to people. Oh, well, they're just trying to take you away from God. Well, again, who was Israel? They were the people of God. And this is really similar to a passage in Luke 14, but without the stoning. It can be similarly kind of chaotic and seem bad, but let's read that real quick. Luke 14, 25 through 33. Now great crowds accompanied him, and he turned and said to them, if anyone comes to me and does not hate his own father and mother and wife and children and brothers and sisters, yes, even his own life, he cannot be my disciple. Whoever does not bear his own cross and come after me cannot be my disciple. For which of you, desiring to build a tower, does not first sit down and count the cost, whether he has enough to complete it? Otherwise, when he has laid a foundation and is not able to finish, all who see it begin to mock him, saying, this man began to build and was not able to finish. Or, what king, going out to encounter another king in war, will not sit down first and deliberate whether he is able with 10,000 to meet him who comes against him with 20,000? And if not, while the other is yet far away, he sends a delegation and asks for terms of peace. So therefore, any of you who does not renounce all that he has cannot be my disciple. This is one of those topics that kind of scares me as a Christian. Am I willing to give up everything to follow God? Is God really first in my life, or are there things that I'm holding on to? I think that's something that's kind of been refined in me the last year. But I think that these are very parallel passages, because Jesus, as we know, Yeshua is Yahweh. Jesus is God. There's a lot in the New Testament that drives that point home to people. Did the people of that day connect the dots between, if anyone is going to take you away from God, you need to stone them, and if you do not hate your own father, mother, wife, children, brothers, and sisters, you can't be my disciple? Now, the word hate doesn't necessarily mean, do you hate their guts in order to follow God? That's not what that means. We're supposed to love people. But it means that these people are secondary to God in your life. It doesn't matter if they're your mother, father, son, daughter, wife, husband. Is God first in your life? And that's one thing that I think as Christians that we really need to think about. What's actually first in our life? There's no stoning in Luke 14, so I think people kind of think that there's no edge to that. But if you actually think about what happens if I hate these people, you're going to want to stone them, potentially. I think the point of both of these is God has to be first. You cannot let yourself be enticed by anyone else if you want to say, hey, I'm a Christian and I'm living it out. Now, there are also things that we can have as idols. This is talking about, is God first in your life? Does God matter that much? Are you living what you say you're living? So, verses 12 through 18, the rest of the chapter. If you hear in one of your cities, which Yahweh your God is giving you to dwell there, from these people that they're eradicating from the land coming up, that certain worthless fellows have gone out among you and have drawn away the inhabitants of their city, saying, let us go and serve other gods, which you have not known, then you shall inquire and make search and ask diligently. And behold, if it be true and certain that such an abomination has been done among you, you shall surely put the inhabitants of the city to the sword, devoting it to destruction, all who are in it and its cattle with the edge of the sword. You shall gather all its spoil into the midst of its open square and burn the city and all its spoil with fire, as a whole burnt offering to Yahweh your God. It shall be a heap forever. It shall not be built again. None of the devoted things shall stick to your hand, that Yahweh may turn from the fierceness of his anger and show you mercy and have compassion on you and multiply you. If you obey the voice of Yahweh your God, keeping all his commandments that I am commanding you today, and doing what is right in the sight of Yahweh your God. That's another sobering passage. There are a lot of verses that also say that God is a jealous God. If you're putting things before him, if you are more worried about losing other things than your salvation, that's something that we really have to wrestle with. Paul talks about, and I'm sure I'm going to butcher this, but figure out your faith with fear and trembling. Determine whether or not you're actually saved. Do you value God that much? And the point of 12 through 18 is to say, hey, guess what? These people that you're taking out of the land have done evil things. They've been worshiping other gods, and that's why they're being removed. The punishment is the same, whether you're Israelite or whether that you are any of the other people groups in the world. There is no differentiation between, oh, you're my people, well, you can do that. You're my people, I'm gonna give you another chance. It's like, no. The point of this is purity. I know maybe this is kind of tough to hear, kind of tough to read through, but that's what God demands. Obedience, purity, and effort. And maybe that's a terrible way to put that, but as a Christian today, my sins are nailed to the cross. My old self is nailed to the cross. I don't have to worry about being wiped out, because the cure for the disease of sin has come. We just need the cure. We need Jesus. So as we go into Sunday tomorrow going to church, maybe we can evaluate, hey, what am I holding on to above God? What am I putting ahead of God? Have a good day.